Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. A huge welcome to everyone joining us for this very special Canva Create session on designing with intention, where we're going to deep dive into co-designing for change and how to amplify the voices of those in our communities, which is such a pertinent topic in today's age. My name is Robyn, and I'm incredibly excited to introduce you to Hitesh and Diana, who are joining us from IDEO.org. Hitesh and Diana, can you tell us a bit about yourselves and the work that you do?
Thank you, Robyn. My name is Hitesh. I'm an Indian descent designer, and I work at IDEO.org designing products and services that are all geared towards social impact.
And I'm Diana, and I'm a senior design lead at IDEO.org. I'm basically the same as Hitesh, a graphic designer, and dressed like him today, just copied his outfit. So yeah, excited to be here today.
It's so great to have you both here. Like I said, my name's Robyn, and in my role at Canva, I lead our foundation and our social impact work, where I get the incredible privilege of working with change makers like Hitesh and Diana every day. And like you heard in the keynote just before from Mel, we often call our social impact work at Canva our Step 2 work, which is part of our two-step plan, where Step 1 is to build one of the world's most valuable companies, and Step 2 is to do the most good that we can. And one of the ways that we bring this two-step plan to life is by giving away our premium product for free to nonprofits, and also ensuring that Canva's got all the right templates that nonprofits need to create change, like these Sustainable Development Goal templates and comms to use in times of crisis. And these are just two examples. And this is alongside a truly inclusive and diverse library of authentic and representative content, so that communities are empowered with the ingredients that they need to talk about the issues most important to them in the way that they want to be represented. We now have over 650,000 nonprofits around the world using Canva to amplify their impact and achieve their goals. And this is something, thank you. It's something our team is really, really proud of. And IDEO.org is one of these nonprofits who we get to chat with today and learn from about their amazing impact. So a lot of you might have heard of IDEO. They're the global leaders in design thinking and how to practice and apply this to solve all sorts of problems, big and small. And IDEO.org is their for-purpose arm. It's a nonprofit design studio that designs products and services alongside other organizations who are also committed to creating a more just and inclusive world. We've got two of their great designers here today, but they're not just designers. They're also made up of researchers, educators, health experts, entrepreneurs, and storytellers who are working together on solutions all over the world. So Hitesh, can you kick us off and tell us, what does design thinking and co-design mean to you?
Totally. Thank you so much, Robyn. So for me, I think design thinking is really a human-centered approach to innovation that really starts to integrate needs of the people with the possibilities of technology and the needs for business success, and together to scale new products and services. But at the heart of it, it's really about putting people first. And so we co-design solutions with communities, centering their lived experience. We shift power and put power in the hands of communities to be author of their own solutions. And I think this kind of approach really starts to create the most sustainable impact over time. And this approach, I don't think, is just relevant for nonprofits. This work is also relevant for all the other industries, because we live in a world where systems are interacting and interlocking with each other, and problems are always they're so big, they're so multifaceted, and they're always inherently human. So this kind of approach really allows us to, the questions that all of us are asking in the world today, the questions that businesses, a lot of business community orgs and government and educational organizations today are asking, how will we navigate the disruptive forces of today, including technology and globalism? Or how will we grow and improve in response to the rapid change that's happening around us? Or how can we effectively support individuals as we start to, while simultaneously changing the systems? So for us, design thinking really offers us an approach to start tackling some of these big, gnarly problems.
So when you explain what design thinking is, it becomes so obvious that it's exactly what we need to do to solve some of the most complex and wicked problems facing our world today. where we need multiple different sectors working together across so many different levels, but it's still so often missed, isn't it? Diana, can you tell us how you've applied design thinking to solve complex problems alongside communities?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, in my opinion, design thinking and co-design are especially important in supporting grassroots movements and community leaders that are aiming to inspire action and change behaviors, because it offers them a seat at the design table alongside us, a seat in order to inform the process, make decisions, collect and provide feedback, and ultimately own and author these solutions and campaigns that they are creating. And two ways this comes to life is one example that sits within one of our programs with the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, where we co-created multiple campaigns with immigrant, migrant, and refugee communities across the US to reduce COVID-19 vaccine hesitancy, combat misconceptions, and ultimately create more awareness. And the goal of each campaign was to ensure that these campaigns are open for contextualization and adaptation by these communities, because their realities, needs, and challenges were changing rapidly during COVID-19. And so the community co-designers that are with us really knew what the community needed and had established trust. So while I can go door to door and post on social media and try to create the same work that they are creating or disseminate this campaign, I do not have the same impact that these leaders have with the community. And then the second example is one that we'll talk more about. It's a youth-led social media campaign we launched to dismantle inequities and biases in the U.S. healthcare system as part of the Health Equity Collective started at IDEO.org. We invited young leaders across the U.S. to join us to create and launch this campaign around health matters that are important to them. Hitesh and I are not teenagers, obviously. We don't know what is important to these kids. And this is a way for them to step in and really tackle the issues and matters that are important to them, ensuring that we destigmatize and create discourse around these topics that are relevant to them and have it be by them and for them.
So collaboration is coming through really strongly in what you're both saying. Hitesh, where does Canva come into this process, this co-design process? Has it been helpful in building these open campaigns and enabling some of this collaboration?
Yeah. I mean, I think Canva is so amazing. Our missions are so aligned, both IDEO.org and Canva's mission, which is to democratize design. And in order to do that, our part of our biggest intent is to design with communities, not for them. So actually, Canva is really great to start empowering communities, to start designing solutions and design campaigns, products, services that they impact their daily lives. So the best way to actually explain this, rather than throwing more big words at you, is to kind of show you through an example of a campaign that we have designed. And maybe Diana, do you want to walk us through some of the youth-led campaign that we were talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. So the campaign I mentioned earlier is called the Uplift Health campaign, and our design brief was how might we improve the health outcomes of BIPOC communities in the US through youth leaders and activists. Because we know that despite advancements in health equity in the US, unfortunately, racism and discrimination still stands in the way and continues to impact access to medical services, and as a result, health-related outcomes amongst Black, Indigenous, and communities of color. And let's take a look together at this video to better frame the challenge we had.
Every 25 seconds, someone dies of COVID-19 in the United States. The pandemic transcends race, gender, and class. But COVID-19 isn't the great equalizer. While it infects indiscriminately, it has disproportionately killed the same people who have historically been oppressed by our health system. This isn't a unique moment of inequity. It's a reflection of a system built on inequity. It isn't the exception. It is the rule.
We deserve better.
We deserve
a system that centers humanity, not profit.
We deserve to be seen as people.
As people, with dignity.
We deserve to live.
We deserve to live.
Full stop.
Full stop indeed. I think with this campaign, what we really wanted to do was we wanted to support change makers inside and outside of their health system to not just promote but flood their sphere of influence with the bold vision of health justice. So we really wanted to arm like every BIPOC youth leader in America with the tools to create a sustained movement for health justice. So we set out to do just that. We were like, okay, let's work with young people, center their voices, and figure out how we can design a campaign that is built and implemented and run along with them.
That's a great goal, Hitesh, but it is somewhat lofty, right? So how did you go about making this a reality? How did you do this learning with young people and go about testing this narrative?
Three youth groups across the U.S. that are representative of the youth that we wanted to work with. The first group is comprised of 3 seniors in high school named Darian, Carla, and Shirley from Georgia. They're amazing. And the second group is comprised of 7 Black young adults in Philadelphia. They're extremely talented and active with their peers and in their community. And then the third group is made out of indigenous young girls between the ages of 7 and 15 from Milwaukee. So with these 3 groups, we dove right in and started having co-design sessions with them over the course of 5 months. We started by thinking what are the key shifts that they want to have as part of their campaigns, and what are the key messages that would support these shifts that they are aiming for. And then what are the visual elements that they want to see in their brand that would resonate with their peers. And finally, how would they disseminate this campaign in order to have the most reach amongst their peers.
Mm-hmm.
And the 3 key shifts that they landed on, the first one is a shift from young people as recipients of misinformation to young people as leaders of the truth, reframing and challenging issues of race and class. And the second shift is a shift from stigmatizing mental health for men and boys to promoting understanding and support, providing them with practical ways to manage it, and making sure that we acknowledge that the effects of grief on the body and mind can be great. And then finally, a shift from overlooking the role of English proficiency in health matters to recognizing the importance of it and understanding your rights of asking, requesting for translators. A lot of these kids were finding themselves in the place of a translator, needing to do the translation between the healthcare provider and their family members. And this was about embracing language justice for all and ensuring that they can ask for translators to be present in the room.
So these are not easy shifts that you're trying to make. You're trying to shift some pretty deeply ingrained attitudes here. Hitesh, can you tell me more about how you got started using Canva in this process?
Yeah.
Was it your suggestion? Was it the young people's suggestion? Had they used Canva before?
I mean, I'm not a teenager, so certainly it wasn't my idea. But Canva is a really great tool to start co-designing with young people. It is a tool that they're already familiar with. So many of them were using it. I was already surprised by it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it on Canva. And it also allowed us to get makey with them instead of us, having like, hey, let's have a brainstorm session and do this. They were like, hey, let's make it something that you love, that you want to build. So we started out building templates and stickers and started to get feedback from them and inputs. So using Canva, we started to pressure test some of these templates. We saw like what are they interested in making? Where are the templates breaking? Like what needs to be fixed, and then what new designs do we need to create? In the final templates that we built out, everything was designed in a way where young people could easily, were equipped to introduce the campaign themselves. They were able to design posts about different health topics that matter to them and start to raise their voice in the communities and talk about health justice. And while just testing in this process of learning with young people, I think we learned a lot around what kind of campaign would actually work, and I would love to share some learnings that were pretty surprising for us. So I think one of the first big learnings that, as with most health topics, we wanted to approach it with a certain amount of seriousness and gravity, but we soon realized that actually humor and comedic approach would be a way more powerful way of connecting with young people. So the campaign needed to be really relevant to what they are already consuming on social media and things they gravitate towards. So being asked to design a health justice meme was like a first in my career, but I really enjoyed it. I think the second big learning was really around, when it comes to health topics, you really want to give the right information. And, it gets jargony very quickly, where you start to throw big words. So we were like, oh my God, how can we make it short and simple? Lot of words doesn't mean always a lot of impact. So with social media being, needed to be attention-grabbing and snappy and direct. So that's one thing we kept in mind. And the third big learning, which I think is one of my favorite learnings, is really around, some of the vulnerability that young people brought to this campaign, the way they were sharing about their identities, their perspective, their voices. I think that really helped set this campaign apart from other campaigns because of the space they created for other young people to feel comfortable to talk about things that might be embarrassing or things that might make them feel more vulnerable and start to advocate for their rights.
Yeah, those are such interesting insights. Thank you for sharing. Diana, it would be great if you can now show us a bit about how this came to life. What were the ingredients of this campaign?
Yeah, so some of the ingredients of the campaign, they differed from between the age groups. So with the under 18 folks, they really wanted vibrant colors that were saturated with a bold font that really rallied peers and made it feel fresh and exciting. They had affirmation stickers that they wanted to put on their posts, which you can see some here, to instill confidence and make people feel excited, like be brave or be vulnerable, like it's okay to be scared. And these were stickers that they were pairing with their posts. And then finally, while they veered away from photography, they wanted illustrations of people that looked like them and that did things that they did, whether it's taking a selfie, speaking into a megaphone, sitting at a rally, or posing for a picture. They wanted these illustrations to do what they were doing. And all these assets were available on the Canva templates where all the kids were able to come in, remix and match, and make the posts as they wanted. As for the youth above 18, their vision was slightly different. They wanted colors that were a little bit less saturated, more mature, still with flair. You got your blacks and your neutrals and your sage and greens. So they wanted to have a little bit of a difference, and they wanted to use photography. Many of them were taking a course in photography and were extremely talented photographers. So they wanted to integrate their own photography into the posts, which was really exciting to see. And then they did want stickers in that one case where they were creating memes as well, because they wanted to capture the attention of people scrolling on social media. And this was like special occasion posts that they were using to capture people's attention and make them, not the exact meme, but have the sticker there. And that was exciting and fun to do. While the two campaigns between the ages above 18 and under 18 looked slightly different from one another because they wanted different elements, they came together nicely because you can still feel like they're part of the same campaign, and that's a win in our opinion.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but for me, vibrancy is the first word that springs to life when I look at this campaign. It definitely feels unique, it feels powerful, and it feels youthful. And there's no denying that it looks pretty good. But we know that this isn't enough, right? Did it actually set out to achieve the desired change that you intended? So Hitesh, can you tell us what were the benefits of this co-design process that you went on?
Totally. Thank you so much, Robyn, for asking that. I think one of the biggest learnings that we had, when it comes to campaigns, like you have this big handover meeting where like, now you own the campaign and now you have to run it. But with the young people we were working with, they felt so proud to be part of the process of co-creating it that ownership just came naturally to them. They felt fully capable to just like take each template, build out their communication plan and campaign launch plan and just put it out in the world, which was very different from the other people we have worked with. And I think another big benefit of this process was that young people just felt unlimited by the amount of templates and the kind of variety of posts they could do. So they could really like hone in on their voice and start to talk about different topics that really mattered to them. And I think this process was also really great at building leadership for young people and start to help them channel their authentic voice in form of a very formal campaign. So it really empowered them to organize with in their communities and start building a base. So this is a quote from Darian, I think.
I think this is Shirley.
Shirley, yeah. Which like really resonated with us around just being able to share a space with them and lend something that actually helps in building leadership.
It's great to see how one of the key impacts of this campaign was enabling authentic expression and ownership by these young folks. So Diana, can you show us what this actually looked like for a few of these specific young people in the campaign?
Yeah, so this is the first post that Shirley, Darian, and Carla put together. They wanted to introduce their campaign to the world, talk about the goal of it, why they're here, what brought them here, and what mattered to them. And they jumped right in. They wanted to create their own characters, which was fun. They're like, we want to post and introduce who's the voice behind this campaign. So Darian wanted his signature necklace on. Shirley wanted her glasses that she's known for. It was so fun to see them ask and pick and choose what they wanted and write their bios and introduce themselves to the world. Similarly, the 18-plus folks from Philly, they wanted to introduce their campaign with the goal and its mission, but then they jumped right into vulnerability. So you can see here, they created stories about how they dealt with grief paralysis, with stress. They wanted to share that with the world and lead by example, demonstrating for their peers what it's like to be vulnerable and to talk about a tough topic like this.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing how these elements and these templates that you co-designed with these young people for your toolkit could then be picked up and personalized by any young person so that they could create something that still, as you say, felt part of this umbrella campaign, but was deeply personal and unique to them, and that they were really proud to share with their communities and their circles of influence. So Hitesh, can you tell us how did using creative and visuals here to galvanize the campaign, how did it lead to change in the real world beyond those involved?
Yeah, no, that totally. So I think when we talk big numbers, we got 100K social media engagement, which is great. And we also got, this campaign was launched in Atlanta, Philly, and Milwaukee, and we got over 13.5 million views. But those are like some, like numerical outcomes. But I think what I'm most excited about is this campaign is ongoing and it's sustained effort. So some of the near-term outcomes that I'm very excited to see that's already happening is that more young people have access to the accurate information to talk about topics around LGBT rights, mental health, native voices, and health justice. More young people feel empowered to demand for culturally relevant care, and they have a greater sense of unity among them with the storytelling that they do on social media. And there are more young people who are organizing and are getting a seat at the table with policymakers to start demanding for change.
It's pretty amazing to see how you're using Canva to encourage design thinking in how to tackle social issues and communicate more effectively to try and shift attitudes in society, and some pretty deep-seated attitudes that we're talking about here. I'm sure our founders never envisaged people would be using Canva to provide better health info on LGBTQI rights or native voice. Diana, I know that tackling social issues via grassroots change is definitely not something that's confined to nonprofits alone, right? So what is one key takeaway to wrap us up that you'd like to leave anyone in the audience with today who is working on social change?
Yeah, the one takeaway that we'd love to leave you with is that people should have ownership over campaigns and solutions that are about them. They have established trust with the community, they speak the language, they know what they need. And so this is for us, designers, and tools like Canva to really ensure that we're shifting power to these folks in order to be the voice and owners of their campaigns. We're just there to support versus own these solutions or campaigns. And in order for this to thoughtfully and intentionally come to life, we have some principles for co-design that we'd love to share with you. These have come up after years of working with co-designers across different communities. And I'm not going to share all, but I'll share my favorites. One of my favorites is honoring and elevating lived experience. Expertise is great, but lived experience is a lot more valuable. It needs to be compensated for, and it needs to be honored. And then creating generative, forward-looking experiences. We should be developing activities that invite participants in to be able to participate equally without reliving or unpacking any trauma. And then adding value in collaboration. We should leverage multidisciplinary skills that are there in the room across us designers, but also co-designers. So if someone is really great at writing or illustrating, let's leverage that. Let's build on each other's skills in order to tackle this problem together. And finally, bring healing and dignity to shared experiences. Show up authentically and relationally. Treat people with respect and seek opportunities to repair whenever possible. And I want to thank you all for being here today. And if you'd like to learn more about IDEO.org's work and support it, please visit our QR code. And Hitesh and I will be around. So if you want to chat and talk, we're happy to do so.
Thank you, everyone.
What a great way to end this panel discussion with the principles of co-design. I know that I've learned a lot from Hitesh and Diana today about how to design with people and not just for them. And I hope that you have too. So please join me to give them another big round of applause. And thank you to you, our amazing audience. Enjoy the rest of Canva Create. Good afternoon.